Whoa, doggy, were the criminals busy the last few weeks around the lake. We started, Chris, Sunday night, well, really kind of ended right at the end of the weekend. The police in Sunrise Beach were on an active manhunt, real close to my house, actually.
Wow.
My road was blocked. There were highway patrolmen, there were police officers, deputies, everywhere looking in the woods behind my house for this guy. The press release from Scott Craig, the chief of police with Sunrise Beach, said on January 15th, 2022 at approximately 4:16, the Sunrise Beach PD officers responded to Woods Grocery Store for a call of a wanted individual. Upon arrival, officers found the subject had left, and they checked out the video surveillance. They confirmed it was Dylan Marshke, and he's wanted out of Camden County on multiple warrants. Officers responded near a residence where a family member of the Marshke's family resides. While near there, officers saw him, and when Marshke saw the officers, he fled on foot from the officers. Camden County Sheriff's deputies and Sunrise Beach officers attempted to locate Marshke, but were unable to do so. Now, there was some frustration on behalf of friends and family of the culprit, Dylan Marshke, because the way they sounded, a manhunt, and at first they said on Facebook, do not approach the subject should you see him, made it lead you to believe that he might be dangerous or a threat. Yeah. And I think that was false information, because in this press release, Chief of Police Scott Craig said, we have no reason to believe that Marshke is an immediate threat to the community. If Marshke is located, please contact local authorities. And so they changed their tone there. So really a manhunt, because they saw him close to the house and saw him and wanted to try to corral him on warrants, but not armed and dangerous to the community. And they initially kind of made us led us to believe that he was. So interesting, still not been found. They'll continue to look for him in his warrants, but the manhunt has been called off. Anytime you have a manhunt, you typically think very dangerous, right?
Absolutely. That's the first thing that comes to my mind, yeah.
Yeah, so you can imagine how frightened we are, that there's a manhunt going on around our house and in our woods with numerous emergency responders. Luckily, though, it was probably a little overkill by the emergency responders and police department and highway patrol, because they didn't find him and they went back to their duty. Okay, so that's not the only wild criminal story or police story we have. Also, there's one where the police were looking for somebody in Lynn Creek.
Yeah, swiped thousands of dollars of equipment from Catalyst Electric there in the Lynn Creek area. Authorities looking for the guy. He was spotted on the company's security cameras. They've got video of him. This happened at like 4:50 on Thursday, January 12th, which is interesting. That's an interesting time for a heist. Yeah. A Thursday afternoon just before 5. You would think there would be people there. Apparently not. So value of the stolen items right around $3,500. The thief could be seen leaving the scene in a red SUV. They've got the license plate numbers, so keep your eye out for this dude. Kind of weird, though. It sounds like he'd been casing the joint because he knew when and where to go and what to get and stuff. So
when you say that too, like almost 5 o'clock on a Thursday, as weird as that sounds, obviously it was the right time. Yeah, because they're still looking for the guy.
Exactly.
Who risked that for $3,500? Sometimes you see these stories and some of these criminals and their actions and the crimes they've committed, and then you look at what they had to gain over what they're losing when they get caught. Yeah. Leaves you scratching your head. Now here's one that doesn't leave you scratching your head.
This one is kind of disturbing.
I mean, incredibly disturbing, and I think it's a very strong warning from our new prosecutor, Rochelle Grosvenor Christensen. 30-year-old in Osage Beach impregnates 11-year-old girl. The story from Lake Expo reads, an Osage Beach man has been sentenced to 30 years in prison after pleading guilty to statutory rape. Marcio Devante Simmons was sentenced to the statutory rape of an 11-year-old girl after she miscarried at home, and DNA testing identifies Simmons was the father. Simmons has been jailed since charges were filed. Now, this happened back in 2019. He was sentenced by Judge Matthew Hamner on Monday, January 9th. Camden County Prosecuting Attorney Rochelle Grosvenor called this an appropriate conclusion to a particularly disturbing case. This kind of predatory behavior will not be tolerated in Camden County. Grosvenor said, we will prosecute criminals' cases vigorously and press for sentences that reflect our commitment to the safety of the community. Now, she did note a special thanks to Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Julie Roden, the Osage Beach Police Department, the Sexual Assault Response Team, and the Missouri Department of Social Services Children's Division, along with Kids Harbor. Very disturbing. Happened back in 2019. Now we're here in January of 22. Our new prosecutor just took office, and here we are not even a full month into the new year, and the 30-year prison sentence has been handed down. And I think that is a very staunch warning to criminals, especially of these type of offenses, will not be tolerated in Camden County, especially on the watch of Prosecutor Rochelle Grosvenor. Pretty awesome to see that, not the story itself, but to see when you have a prosecutor who is out for the right reasons, they're going to get stuff done. And that is a sign of things to come for Camden County.
And just a quick side note, we were talking a couple weeks ago how surprised we were about that real estate agent lady and her case being dropped because she had been charged with trying to have her mother-in-law killed or something. And it was like it came out of nowhere. We couldn't figure it out. Well, apparently the previous county prosecutor dropped it just before he left, and the new prosecutor came in for whatever reason, maybe right reasons, maybe wrong reasons, who knows. But it is interesting that it was dropped in his last couple of days before he left.
There's a couple of cases really just dropped by Cunningham. It's apparent he hadn't been going to the courthouse, not really to fulfill his duty. No telling what was going on there. But if you need any more reasons to believe that Camden County didn't do the right, or believe they did the right thing on election, this is it, because you see our new prosecutor is taking names and taking out the trash in Camden County and laying down the sentences, and that is a very, very distinct difference from what we saw in the previous prosecutor. So I think that all worked out the way it's supposed to, and I'm glad you brought that up, because at the time we didn't know why that had been dropped.
It just disappeared.
Turns out that probably was going to take a lot of work and a lot of diligence by the previous prosecutor, and at this point I didn't get reelected, I'm not getting paid, right before he left, probably the case. And the other one, thief and registered sex offender arrested on drug charges. Doesn't seem to get any better.
Very weird. Jasper Scott Smith, 33-year-old, Camdenton, arrested during the, so they do these regular checks with registered sex offenders. During the check, Camden County deputies located stolen property from an ongoing investigation, found methamphetamines, unlawfully possessed prescription medications, and drug paraphernalia used in the distribution and consumption of a controlled substance. So obviously, it looks like he's back in prison or jail or whatever after violating his situational orders there.
Man, it's sad, because we do read these stories from time to time to keep you guys posted, and there was an unusual amount. But we're starting to see more weird stories like this at the lake. Of course, last week we had an officer that had shooting, that officer had to fire at, you know, I guess you would say a suspect. Well, that suspect was killed. This week, all of these crazy headlines, and you know, as you see more activity and more people visiting the lake, it goes right back to, thank God we've got a prosecutor in Camden County at this point in time who is not going to let this stuff slide. Because when you have a prosecutor in there, Chris, who's tough on violent crimes, on sexual crimes, on crimes against minors, it then creates the precedent that that area is one I want to go to, because it's more likely that I can get away with my crimes and less likely to pay the price. And that had been the precedent in Camden County, and that is no longer going to be the precedent. We're going to see that is starting to change. And good thing, because Chris, we are just starting to scratch the surface of how busy and big the Tri-County area is going to be.